Hello, I'm Judy Stiles. Thank you for joining us this week on Newsmakers. Our focus this week is the city of Joplin, and there's a lot happening in the city, and joining me today is the mayor, Seibert. Thank you for being here today.
It's a pleasure, Judy.
I guess from a mayor's perspective, if someone were to ask you, what is the state of the city at this point? How do you respond to that question?
Well, if construction and road detours are any indication, we've got a lot going on, and we really do. We've got a lot of road improvement projects. If you've driven down Range Line, there's a lot of commercial development on Range Line. We're so fortunate to have Mercy back in up and running in their new facility. And so we've just got a lot of great things going on within our community.
Well, let's take some time during this program, talk about some of those topics and
Sure.
people are probably asking you about and so forth. And, current projects, you're talking about construction. We know there's a lot being done at the ballpark. Joe Becker just weeks away from seeing a new baseball team there.
You know, that's really quite the buzz in the community right now. The first game is May 21st. And we've got less than a month to finish up, but I was just out there before the show, and they're making great progress out there. They were actually putting sod on the hill as I was watching this afternoon. So really appreciate the work that Crossland Construction is doing, and Chad Greer with Corner Greer and his design there. But I think one of the things that folks really need to know is the contribution of the city in this project, because we're really extending the value of the dollars we're spending by having the Parks and Rec Department under Chris Cotton's leadership and the Public Works Department under Nick Heatherly's leadership to really do as many things in-house and save money as we possibly can. It lets our public dollars go further, and I'm just so very proud of the work the city's doing and the construction teams that are involved.
That's really changing the look of that part of town.
It really is, and that's probably one of the first time in a long time that part of our community has an opportunity to see some economic development in that area. And you combine the Joe Becker revitalization and the Blasters coming to town, and then you've got the skate park, which is just around the corner, and the skate park will be finished in the late May timeframe as well, hopefully very close to the same time. Great new amenities in our park system for kids that like to, and adults that like to skateboard. I told them I would cut a ribbon, but I would not get on a skateboard out there. But and I just came from there, and they were bringing some of the big concrete structures, some of the bowls and half pipes and things that the skate fans are going to be thrilled to have, and it's a big facility, and we're really excited to add that to our park system.
So parks being one area that I know the citizens have put a lot of input in over the years. They'd like to see things happen, and the city's able to follow up. Part of that due, of course, to a sales tax that helps the parks.
And we have to acknowledge that from our citizens. That is the Parks and Storm water sales tax that the citizens approved, and that's the commitment the city has made. If the citizens pass that, those were the things to expect, and we're delivering.
Right. Well, I know that you mentioned a lot of construction and things going on around town. I drive by, you mentioned road detours. People are probably curious. 20th Street, you have some major street projects. It's almost on the either beginning or about ready to begin.
Well, the 20th Street overpass, we were hoping to get that underway by now. We've had a few delays, but we're hoping to get those delays worked out. And once the project starts, it'll probably be a few weeks after it starts, maybe even as much as a month before we have to detour traffic around the overpass area. But that's just one of several road projects that we've got going on, and this is great weather, hopefully without too much rain, great weather for those road construction projects. And we're trying to wrap some up, and we're actually starting some new ones off.
And these are at different parts of town. It's not all concentrated in one area.
Correct. We're spreading the love. We've got the Maiden Lane project that we're working on, and Maiden Lane should be wrapped up by the end of the year. We'll make a lot of progress this summer. 26th Street from Maiden Lane down to Schifferdecker, that's in its final stages. They're just doing some final work there. We've also got some new projects that are getting, we're going to be requesting the quotes on the Jackson Street bridge, referred to as Low Water Bridge. That project will be bid, as well as West 32nd and the Zora project from Range Line over to Duquesne will be going out to bid. So they're down the road quite a bit, but those are projects that will be next on the list of that are being identified as our next big projects.
Part of your master plan for
Correct.
transportation,
Correct.
tying everything together. Well, people might be curious. I know they drive through certain parts of town and see work and redevelopment, post-tornado. You have a lot of things going on in that section of town that are transportation related or infrastructure related.
We do, and we have a lot of storm damage repair that's going on at the same time. There are a lot of curb and gutter repair. Either it may be storm damage related,
Right.
or just monies we've been able to identify to spend on improving our infrastructures and neighborhoods. And we have a lot of that, and I know we're in a lot of yards, and we just ask the citizens' tolerance. We'll get in and out as soon as we can, but if anybody has any questions or concerns, please call the city. Sometimes they see things kind of idle for a while, and they wonder what's going on, and if they'll call the city, it might be that we're waiting to relocate some utilities, or and you know, we want the neighbors to be informed, and so we encourage them to call us, and we will do everything we can to keep them informed and let them know when we plan to be done, and hopefully at the end they'll reflect back and say, wow, you know, we've got either better drainage or better new sidewalks and new amenities that we didn't have before. So, but it's we know it's an inconvenience, and we ask the citizens' patience during this, but at the end we hope it's going to be something they can be very proud of.
And really it's a step-by-step process. I mean, even the road widenings, you have to get the right-of-ways, then you have to do the utilities before you can even start the road. You know? Correct. Tying all of that.
So if you see the project started, there's probably at least a year to 2 years of planning that's already been undertaken.
And working behind the scenes. Well, redevelopment post Wallace Bajali area. People are curious, you know, what's happening now with the city and those ideas that people had and what projects might be coming through.
Well, I think one of the most apparent projects that the citizens are going to see is the library at 20th and Connecticut. There will be a meeting on, I believe it's April the 29th, that the architects will reveal the new design of the public library there at 20th and Connecticut, and then it will come to council, I believe, our first meeting in May. So that's one area that the citizens will see that is an area that is moving forward, and one that we have talked about and focused on. And so that I think that's going to be exciting when we can see the actual design of the new library. And
that's being funded by some specific funds, helping us
out
with
that's
that project.
Economic Development Authority has committed that if the city spends $25 million, they will reimburse us $20 million. So we have $20 million invested in that, or $5 million of the city invested in the $25 million project.
So that would really add more to that part of town when people start seeing that building coming up.
We hope so, and we're still optimistic that there's going to be a commercial development associated with that library project that will again transform the 20th Street into that economic corridor that we had identified and had talked so much about post-tornado.
Now, I noticed the city is actually selling some land that it purchased earlier for development. Now,
correct. It was the opportunity to take two parcels of land that were in the land bank that we had established. There's one parcel at 26th and Main.
Right.
That is posted, and we are accepting sealed bids on those for another few weeks, as well as it was referred to as the old Medical Arts Building, that location there at 25th and Jackson. Those two parcels are available to be purchased through the city's bidding process. So hopefully we'll get some folks that are interested in that with some commercial developments there and more development within the city.
So do you sense that there is still an interest in the commercial development side of people to come in and say, I see this land, I see an opportunity?
I think so, and actually I think post Wallace Bajali, I think there's actually even more of an interest now that part of our development is behind us now. I think people realize that there are some opportunities now, and they're coming forward, and so I'm very optimistic that whether it's the 20th and Connecticut commercial project, whether it's the Hope Valley project that is all set up with the TIF and the SID for the incentives down there. I think that project is set to develop, and we're just going to begin the process for the review of the TIF that is going to be proposed for the South Main corridor. And so that will be going through the same type of a review process, but that's another area that's been identified for development.
Now, for the viewers, the public, when they hear the word TIF, they're sometimes confused. What is actually involved with those? Without going into a long legal definition, developers are coming to the city asking for some special considerations with these projects.
Right. It's called a tax incremental financing, and the money is used to reimburse the developers for infrastructure, especially in areas that would be challenged with normal development. And you look at some of the topography down South Main, and you look at the topography behind Cracker Barrel in the
this is that Hope Valley area.
In the Hope Valley area, there's some very high costs on that, and there are funding mechanisms put in place to develop those areas that would probably not develop normally or would take a lot longer to develop. For example, I think down in the Hope Valley area, as it sits right now with the water issues down there, I think there's only about 7 acres that are able to be developed, and with the plan that's in place, it will transform it to at least about 150 acres in the initial area. So that's very, very expensive, and so communities use those types of tools to entice developers to invest, knowing that a lot of that expense will be shared with the city.
Now, this is not new to Joplin. Some existing retail areas we have been built through the TIF program.
Correct. Some that come to mind are the ones out by Academy and Macadoodles. That was one, and then the area around Target. That was another of the areas that we have used to use incentives to get those types of commercial developments moving forward. So it's a very common development tool, and one that hopefully we can bring some additional development and resources that we haven't seen in the city just yet.
So the opportunity for the city to grow out, you're talking about south of 44 with the Hope Valley area. There's areas that the city continuing to expand beyond traditional areas of the city.
Correct, and it's amazing. We are so very fortunate as a community post this major disaster to have so many people who are interested and are excited to come and be a part of our rebuilding. Probably one of the greatest things that we have received as far as a new opportunity for our community is the medical school.
I was going to ask you about that coming up.
I figured you were. I thought this was probably a good time.
Right. People are curious. The medical school coming in, and I've heard it's going to have a tremendous economic impact for the city.
The numbers that we've seen is once the medical school is fully up and running, which is it's a number of years away, but when they're up and running, they will have about 600 medical students there on site, and that could potentially add about $100 million per year to the economy in Joplin and the area. And the reach of the benefit is all over Joplin and the area. I think higher education is going to benefit from that. I know Southern's very excited about it, and some of the other fine college institutions in our area, I think, are going to benefit from that. And to have medical school here in Joplin, I think people ask me, what's the definition of a game changer? And I think for a community the size of Joplin, to have a medical school, that's really a game changer. And I think it's going to change the course of the direction of the community for the good. I cannot thank enough of the folks that have been involved in that process. The Mercy System with their gracious donation of the building. But this project wouldn't have been possible unless both our hospital systems, both Mercy and Freeman, came together to provide the support this medical school needed. And so I just have to thank Gary Pulsifer with Mercy and Paula Baker at Freeman for their steadfast commitment to this project. And there was another group, the Regional Medical Alliance. There were a number of civic leaders involved with that. Rob O'Brien with the Chamber, Rudy Farber was on the finance end, and then Dr. Larry McIntyre was an integral part of bringing this project here. And KCU with Dr. Mark Hahn, who I've met on a number of occasions. They are just really excited to come to Joplin. This will start the fall of 17.
So the first students coming in the door for
That's
their
right.
program.
That'll be here before we know it.
Right. And so then this is something that's been talked about for a while. And I can remember being at meetings a number of years ago where somebody had this dream. So seeing a dream become a reality must be kind of rewarding for the city to say it's more than just, someone's dream now.
You're right, and you had to have a lot of patience because this is a conversation that started back in 2008. And so, everyone has done their due diligence, and I think the things have fallen into place. And so we're just really excited that KCU has decided to expand to Joplin, and Joplin's ready for this, and just can't be excited enough and grateful for all those involved.
We're kind of talking about economic development and jobs and benefiting the city. I know that there's a lot of things also happening with the industrial side, the manufacturing side, and so forth in the community as well.
We've been very fortunate on that as well because, one of the main things that we want to continue to bring to the community is new jobs, because that's really what's going to help fill up some of the empty spaces, whether it be homes, whether it be retail. And so leading the way most recently was Eagle Pitcher's announcement for their ion lithium battery contract, which is about well over a $20 million project, almost 200 jobs, and a number of those jobs are in the engineering area, so well-paying jobs. We're excited about that. We did the groundbreaking about a month ago, so they're about 11, 12 months out before we do ribbon cutting there. Obviously, the medical school, they will employ somewhere between 60 and 80 people at the medical school with, again, the 600 medical students on board. We have Project Cannonball, which is a manufacturing company that's wanting to buy the old Mars or Doan feed plant, and that one is well over 100 jobs coming into the area. And another project that's really exciting, and we're hopeful, we're still a long way from knowing if we're going to be chosen, but it's referred to as Project Aurora, and this is a European foundry that set out bids across the country, 12 states, 160 cities, and now Joplin, we're down to 20 cities. We're the only one in Missouri. We actually have 2 sites here in Joplin, and so that would be an exciting addition to our community, but hopefully that gives the residents, and not only in Joplin but the area, the realization that there's a lot of things going on, a lot of forward-leaning things going on, not only for right now but in the future. Creation of good jobs is our goal. Great amenities within our community, whether it's cultural at the high school with our new Performing Arts Center that we just had ribbon cutting on there. We've got Connect to Culture in town that is just alive with great ideas and aspirations to do great things in our community. And so we've got a vibrant park system, and it's just, we're very, very fortunate. We've got a lot of great things going on.
So a lot of things in the city, really, all your departments are keeping very busy with all of these different projects.
They are that.
Working together. When you look at all these things that are happening, as a councilman, as a mayor, do you get a lot of calls from people with questions, or they hear something on the news, or they, what's happening down the street?
We do, and we encourage that because, rumors are, sometimes they can be very detrimental, and a lot of times there's answers to issues, whether you pick up the phone and call City Hall or you reach out to individual council members. The important thing is, if you see something, you have a question, pick up the phone or come to a council meeting, ask a question, because we're really, we think we've got our bases covered, but every now and then things slip through the cracks. So it's important for residents to feel like that they can communicate with their city and talk about the challenges and the issues that come up, and and also maybe a compliment every now and then to let them know they're doing a good job, because we've got one of the greatest city staffs. I'm so proud. I've got the easy job. I just sit there and say, you guys got a great idea, I'll vote for that. But they just, Sam Anselm, our city manager, is just doing a great job, and his department heads, they really do tremendous work. I hope the citizens are very proud of what we've accomplished. We haven't done it ourselves. We've had so many, as we know, we've had well over 150,000 volunteers to come and help us after the disaster, and that's just, that just kind of set us on a course of success. And I think Joplin was known for, after the disaster, we were known for recovery.
Right.
And my goal is for us to also be known for recovery as well, and redevelopment.
The redevelopment after the recovery
Correct.
stage, and tying that together. With a lot of positives, what would you say from the city's perspective, some of the challenges that you're facing in the next couple of years?
Well, I think some of the challenges, and it comes almost in ironic ways, the federal government has granted us community block grant monies, and we were so very fortunate to receive millions of dollars, right, in excess of $150 million. And there are challenges, working through the government rules and regulations, and that delays
the
things.
Timetables get longer.
It does, and we can't just do anything we want. I mean, there's limited things that we can do, and that's challenging, because we see a lot of need that we have in a community, but we can't utilize those monies. So it challenges us, but still we're so very grateful for the federal support and the state support. Our state has been
a lot of relief as well.
Has been very supportive. Our local legislators have gone to bat for us and done some great things for us, and we're so very grateful. But it's probably the red tape associated with some of that is quite daunting at times, and takes a lot of staff time. But the important thing is we've got a group called Deloitte, and Deloitte is the group that oversees the city in our attempt to do these projects, and they're very valuable, because in our partnership with Deloitte, their role is to make sure these projects do pass the federal muster, because at the end of the day, what we don't want is the federal government to say that was a good project, but you're not
going to get the money now.
You're not going to get the money. So, and that's Deloitte's job. So it doesn't move as fast as I want, but I certainly appreciate what they do for us.
The steps that have to be taken. And since we're talking about money, the viewers might be curious, the city audit is still at the state level. You anticipate that coming back for review by the city sometime and then response?
I do. I believe actually today Nicole Galloway is going to be sworn in as the new state auditor. And once she kind of gets settled into her position, I think she's going to reach out to city staff and have that conversation about when she will come down and present in closed session to council. And then if it's like what they did with the school district, they would probably, after it's presented to council in closed session and the city staff, then there will be maybe as much as a month in between there that we will prepare our response to the different things that were brought out in the audit. And then there will be a public reveal of that audit. So we don't have a firm time frame right now. Best guess maybe end of May, early June, but we don't know for sure. We'll know soon though with the new auditor in place. They will be giving us timelines and updates for that.
Well, I know that's a topic the citizens, I'm sure, interested in what's happening along those lines.
We are too.
Falling together. So you have so much happening with the city. Your role as a mayor, what do you enjoy the most representing the city in that position?
Well, I have to say, being involved in economic development, that to me is the future of our city. It's so important to our future, to bring new industry and good paying jobs into our community. I really enjoy that. I go to a lot of ribbon cuttings, and I enjoy that too. I read a lot of proclamations, and it's great to be out and amongst our town. There are so many great things going on. There's so much excitement. It's just a lot of fun. I really have enjoyed my time.
And council members encourage feedback. I know you have a website. I don't know if we've been able to show it, but there's a lot of information for citizens through your website. You have ways to communicate with the community.
There is a ton of information on our website. And for those that don't get to see your channel, there's obviously other ways and other times to catch up council meetings. If they choose to, they can watch our feeds off of our website. So a lot of times those questions can be answered if you go to the website. If you can't find the answer, pick up the phone, call somebody at the city or call one of your council members. And that's one other thing that I'm very proud of, is the fact that resident questions get addressed and answered very quickly. Might not always like the answer, but you know, we do a very good job of responding to citizens' questions and concerns.
So as you said earlier, part of that communication, that's important within the city.
We believe
tying
that.
people together. So a lot of things to look forward to this summer. I guess to kind of summarize the beginning, look out for road construction throughout the community. Watch for new buildings going up or signs of buildings and plans that are coming up in our community.
And we need, the next 30 days need to be dry, or dry, not real wet. We still need the gardens to grow and the grass and all that, but we've got a lot of construction projects all over the community, whether it's for baseball, whether it's for sidewalks and new construction for roads, or projects here out on campus. We've got projects all over town, and a lot of great things going on. We ask for patience and tolerance, and again, if there's issues or concerns, please reach out to us, and we'll do our very best to give answers.
And of course, Joplin being a regional hub for the community, we have obviously viewers outside the city limits watching us, that you have a lot of people who may shop or work in Joplin that are benefiting from these services and things that are happening.
We sure hope so. We sure hope we're attracting, and we know we are. Our daytime population swells to well over 250,000 visitors during the day, and people that come in and work and then go have homes within close proximity of Joplin. And so we really have a regional concept of economic development with the chamber, and that's very important because you know, if even if a project doesn't go here in Joplin, a project you know, even in southeast Kansas or in the Pittsburgh area, or you know, our friends over in Carthage, we all win from those projects. And so we're always excited to know we've got new businesses opening up either here in Joplin or our surrounding areas, because we've got a great workforce, and it's a big workforce, and that's one of the big attributes that we have.
Help bring people to the area. Well, Mayor, I'd like to thank you very much for visiting with us today on Newsmakers.
Judy, it's my pleasure.
Thank you. And I'd like to thank the viewers for joining us this week on Newsmakers. I'm Judy Stiles. Hope you can join me again next week at the same time on the station. We'll see you then.